All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Limitless MD. I'm your host, Vikram Raya. And today we're going to talk about the four horsemen of relationships as well as the four antidotes. Why am I talking about relationships? Because relationships are the juice of life. Relationships are what's needed to enhance every category of your life, your intimate life, your business life, your professional life, your life as being a father or mother. All right. Everything is based on relationships. We don't live on an island. We live interconnected with people. What if you could reclaim hours of free time each week, create legacy building wealth, and devote more energy to your passion projects without giving up on your career as a life-saving MD? My name is Vikram Raya, functional cardiologist, high performance coach, and real estate expert. And I'm here to give you the tools, strategies, and solutions you need to transform your life so you can unlock your limitless potential and achieve greatness, all the while freeing up your precious time. Welcome to Limitless MD. Let's dive in. So, with that being said, why does a relationship weaken and fail? And I want to refer to Dr. Gottman, and he came up with, he's one of the number one researchers and scientists on relationships and marriage. And he says that there are four horsemen of usually the four horsemen are referred to the four horsemen of the apocalypse, meaning something, a negative event. And in this case, he's referencing the four horsemen of a destruction of a relationship. And not only that, I don't want to just give you how to destroy it, but I'm going to give you the ways to reverse it or the antidotes to these four horsemen. So buckle up, get ready. Let's do this. Number one, it's criticism. What is criticism? It's verbally attacking a person or their character, right? Number two, it's contempt. And as you can tell, this is starting to build up, right? And 1 out of 4 is okay. It happens sometimes. 2 out of 4, tolerable. You still probably have a reasonable relationship. But when you start getting 3 out of 4 of these things, or 4 out of 4, that relationship is essentially dead or rapidly dying, right? And these are red flags that something has to change or the relationship will end. Number 2 was, so criticism was number 1. Number 2 was contempt. That's attacking their sense of self-worth with the intent to insult or abuse, right? And this could be verbal, it could be physical. Next is defensiveness, victimizing yourself to ward off all perceived attack and reverse the blame. And finally, number 4, stonewalling. What does that mean? That means withdrawing to avoid conflict, conveying disapproval, distance, separation. You sleep in different beds. You don't talk to each other. You communicate only via text. You have your life. She has her life. And it's essentially, you guys are, either distant friends, acquaintances at best. So what can we do to turn this around, right? Those are the four horsemen of the apocalypse. I'm going to talk to you now about the four antidotes to reverse these things. And then I'm going to share with you a strategy called the P to C ratio, or the praise to criticism ratio. And I'll tell you what the ideal ratio is based on science. And I'll also share with you a secret technique of how to pay compliments that actually hit well. And they're not just flattery or air up someone's skirt, but they're actually true, genuine, authentic positivity arrows that you could shoot toward a person and they'll receive it well. All right, let's get into it. So criticism, what do you do when there's criticism going on? Instead of criticizing, you may want to make requests. Instead of blaming that person, hey, you suck, or hey, because of you, this is what happened. It's like, hey, look, looks like the situation is in such a way that, this is what's going on. I think moving forward, to decrease impact on both of us, let's do X, Y, and Z, right? You don't criticize the person, you criticize potentially the situation or what's happening versus making it personal. And you want to figure out how to meet their person's needs, and you want to share with them how they can meet your needs. Okay, that's criticism. Next is contempt. Instead of treating the person with disrespect or ridicule or making them lesser than, and using words like disgusting, stupid, what's wrong with you? You want to say, hey, I haven't thought of it that way. Tell me more. Or, hey, what you're feeling makes sense. Thank you for sharing that. Right. You want to communicate value to that person, and you want to attempt to understand and validate them. You may not agree, but your goal is to understand and say, hey, your viewpoint is truly valid, right? And it's sometimes also trying to literally be in the other person's footsteps. And the goal is to see, hey, can this person be worthy of honor? Or have I honored them before in the past? And what can I do now to do that? All right, number 3, defensiveness. What do you do there? You want to accept responsibility. You don't want to get defensive. Fully own the ways that you may have contributed to the problem, right? Focus on the impact, on your impact, not on your intentions of self-defense, right? That's not what I was going for, but if it still hurts you, I'm sorry. Hey, the ball's in my court and I dropped it. You know what? I'll take care of it. That's the kind of language you need, okay? That's how you deal with defensiveness. Now, finally, stonewalling. The way to do because this is a very severe escalation of the relationship. And so they suggest self-soothing and re-engaging. Softly tell the other person, hey, you're being flooded with emotions and you need to take a break. Man, hey, I need to calm myself down. Do you mind if I take 30 minutes and I'll come back to you? Hey, this topic is really important to me. I want to be present, but I'm feeling really overwhelmed. Hey, can I take an hour and I'll clear my head. I'm going to come back and be fully engaged. See, when emotions are high, logic is low. And so you don't want to do things during an emotional state. And remember, there's 4 triggers usually to a very high, intense emotional state. It's called HALT. You want to halt your emotions if they're sabotaging you. H.A.L.T. H stands for hunger. A is for anger. L, loneliness, and T is tiredness. Usually when you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired is when you do stupid things. So when you recognize you're in one of those states, it's probably not the best time to engage with a partner where you're already on the rocks or that you may say something you regret. You want to disengage, recenter yourself, engage back again. Okay, guys. So those are the 4 horsemen. Those are the 4 antidotes to the 4 horsemen. Now I want to talk to you about praise to criticism ratio. How do you know when you're in a positive, uplifting relationship with a person? Well, the amount of praise you give versus the criticism. And the ideal praise to criticism ratio is 5-1. What does that mean? What that means is, you praise them about their looks, their appearance. You praise them about what they're doing. You thank them for doing the chores. You appreciate them for showing you so much love, for creating all these magic moments. And if you want to give feedback, you give feedback on the behavior, not the person. So that constructive feedback is not, it's not a targeted attack. It's like, hey, look, Veer, next time make sure you do this and this, because that way we as a family can get ready on time, for example. So praise the person. If you have to criticize the behavior, and remember your ratio, 5-1. And then finally, what is a sincere compliment? Guys, a sincere compliment is anything where you pay a compliment and you explain why that compliment is appropriate for them by giving an example. And then that's where it hits very well. Hey, Chris, I love the fact that you are engaging and coming with ways that are making our team more successful at Viking. And, I really appreciate the fact that you went above and beyond and reached out to Combe and made sure he was good with the next project. And because of that, now I can see our whole company moving forward. So thank you for that. I say the compliment, I justify the compliment, and I reiterate the praise again, right? It's almost like a praise sandwich. So with the meat in the middle is sincere authenticity and actual reason for the compliment. Okay. So guys, how do you use this? You can use this in business. You can use it in your workplace. You can use it in your intimate relationships. You can use it with your children. This is the holy grail. If you learn these things, you can bulletproof your relationship so it stays strong, stays healthy, and you can become a master influencer. You can be the person people want to be around. You could, there's several ways to influence people, but the best way I've found is to be a leader and to be an authentic supporter of what's going on for people around you. Okay. If you like this information, if you want more, subscribe to the podcast, refer a friend, join my Physician Wealth Accelerator community, PWA community. There's a link below to join that community. It's completely complimentary, and you'll learn more and more of these kind of strategies to become a limitless MD, where you're having, more freedom, more wealth, more human optimization, guys. So remember again, how do you avoid a relationship from weakening and failing? You want to avoid the 4 horsemen. You want to use the antidotes we talked about. You want to use the 5-to-1 praise to criticism ratio. And when you pay a compliment, make it sincere. Again, as we wrap up here, be limitless, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Limitless MD. If you found value from this episode, I encourage you to share this episode with a friend and let me know by leaving a review. For more information, make sure you check out the links in the show notes below or simply visit vikramraya.com. So until next time, my friends, be phenomenal.